Welcome to the Mr. Universe Meets podcast in association with the Mansformation Programme. Now, the Mansformation Programme is a 12-week programme for men that want to level up their training, nutrition, lifestyle and mindset so that they can live in a body that looks great, feels great and has unstoppable energy. On this podcast, we're going to be speaking to athletes that have reached the top of their game to understand their mindset, habits and routines and what makes them elite. I want you to take advantage of the lessons they teach and go and smash your own goals. I would love it if you guys would like, share and subscribe and enjoy the podcast. All right, so today we are joined by Tiaan Bosch. He is a remarkable man with an incredible mindset and outlook on life. And today we're going to go through his story. It's going to make you feel pretty stupid when you say that you can't achieve something, you can't achieve this or you can't achieve that. When you listen to his story, I mean, certainly if you've got goals that you in your head that you want to achieve, this man is going to make you realise that with the right attitude and willpower, anything is possible. So first of all, Tiaan, welcome and thank you very much, mate, for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, man.
Cool. So you compete in wheelchair marathons.
Yeah.
You've represented South Africa in the Commonwealth Games in 2022.
Yeah.
And you finished 8th there.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Perfect, mate. So you've not always been in a wheelchair.
No.
You had an accident when you were 17, which left you paralysed from the chest down. So can we kind of just rewind right back to the start and just start us with a little bit of your backstory, your early years, what life was like before the accident. Obviously you're into your sports and stuff like that still at that point.
Yeah. So from the age of about 6 or 7, got into a bit of cross country. I've always been sporty. I excelled pretty much in my cross country career back in school. Up until I was about 13. Up until that point, I'd achieved quite a bit on the circuit and cross country. My county colours, which I got a few of those. I went to the nationals as a junior for cross country. And then up to the age of about 13, I just felt the pressure was a bit much and just wanted to have a bit of a change. So I took a year off and then started going into track racing, where I started specialising in the 100, 200, 400. Really enjoyed that. But between all of that, I moved quite a bit. Went down to the Cape, and in Cape Town, started doing nippers there, which is junior life saving. Went to nationals for that. Won silver and gold for that. Did a bit of squash. Won gold in my league for squash. So I've always been sporty. It was always in my blood to keep fit, keep active. And then, probably 2 months into training for the 400-meter hurdles, I jumped on a friend's motorbike, went down the road and wrapped it around a tree and broke my back. So life changed pretty much as soon as I got onto that bike. 2 weeks of my life is a bit of a blank. I do remember getting on the bike, don't remember taking the keys, don't remember putting on the helmet, and woke up 2 weeks later in hospital.
So you were obviously very, like you say, super sporty. You excelled at everything that you did. Was this sort of a road that you were looking down as a career with athletics?
Yeah, I mean, at a young age, I was like, I'm going sport. I don't need to concentrate on my education. I was called in twice to the principal's office, saying you need to pick up your grades. I was like, I'm just really using the school's name to run, which was, I was arrogant and then broke my back. Nothing really to fall back on. I wasn't really academic. So I was going the route of the sports. I wanted to go, sports psychologist or biomechanics. I was visited by one of the universities to offer me a scholarship at the age of 16. So I had that road. Yeah, that was what I was focusing on.
So that's what you had that lined up. You had a scholarship lined up, which obviously paid for your university education. You would be able to do your running through the university and then potentially lead on to a career in athletics. That was kind of the goal at that point. So kind of obviously then that bike accident happened. So to take me back to that night, mate, how did that go? You jumped on a friend's motorbike?
Yeah, so we went to a school, I called it back in the day, a disco in the 90s. Went to a school disco, we were going to have a barbecue at one of the little dam around the corner. I went home to go pick up, some stuff for the barbecue, and one of the friends followed me home, and I was like, I said to my brother, "You go get the stuff. I'll just jump on the bike." And I just lost control. Hit a tree at about, I think it was about 50 or 60 mile an hour. And then, like I said, 2 weeks later, I'd woken up. I was told everything up until that point was, I died on the scene. I was revived at the scene. My dad got to me first, which he pretty much held my head together. I had 47 stitches in my head. My head was open, hanging on the ear. They revived me, got me into the ambulance. I died again on the way to hospital, and that's where the road of recovery started. When I'd woken up from 2 weeks coma.
So you were in coma for 2 weeks. So what is your first memory of coming round in hospital?
The hospital lights. So I remember looking up, and I was like, "Where am I?" That's the only thing I remember.
Do you have no recollection at that point about what had happened?
Nothing. When I was in ICU. Again, I can't really remember any of this, but stories from family and friends where, I was feeling my leg and I was like, "What is this?" And the people would look at each other like, "He can't feel his legs." They're like, "That's his leg." And I was, "Why can't I feel my legs?" Family were making up stories, swelling on the brain. And the first thing I ever remember was the lights above me. I didn't know where I was.
And so obviously at that point, you didn't realise how serious it was. When did you realise? How did they kind of break that news to you? Because at this time, you're 16 years, 16, 17? That's it?
Yeah, 17.
17.
Yeah. So the day I found out was I was on my own. A doctor walked into the hospital, into my room. I was on my own. He pinched my nipple as hard as he could. I woke up and he said, "You're paralysed and you'll never walk again," and walked out. And I was left there. I was like, "No, I will." And I screamed to him saying, "I will walk again, you idiot." Kind of, I was arrogant again. And just being me saying, I will achieve what I put my mind to. But that's how I found out. And
so, where was your head at that point? Like 17 years old, your life is sport. You're excelling at everything that you do, whether it's squash or life-saving or athletics. You've got your entire life in front of you. You've got a potential university scholarship on the line. Where is your mindset at this point?
I think at that point I was still in shock. I didn't really realize what was going on. I think, and I said to many people before, I think, when you're in hospital, there's a lot taken away from you in terms of the activities. So there's a lot of hustle and bustle during the day. There's, the physios come in, you have your breakfast, they work on you all day, you have your lunch, and slowly during the afternoon, everything starts getting quiet, visiting hours start finishing, and that's where I think hospital becomes like an evil place. You're left with your mind, and that's where it started, hitting me hard with, what am I going to do now? I'm 17, I can't walk. Why me? That's when nobody ever knew that, but that's when I did all my crying, always asking why me, why me. But I think when you get over the why me, that's when I started I was always positive on the athletics field, and I was going to take this positivity into whatever life has just thrown me.
Well, how do you go from, like you say, from that sort of crying at night on your own and the why me to, okay, let's get on with this? How long did that process take?
Probably about 3.5 months, because I was in hospital 3.5 months. So the problem what I found in hospital was I was always around negativity. So there were a lot of, I wasn't just me, there was a lot of people coming in with gunshot wounds, spinal injuries, diving accidents, and you've got everybody, I wouldn't say sick, but got all these disabilities coming in, and you're like, what is this world coming to? People are just stuck here, and I was like, I don't want to be stuck here. So it was more to prove to myself that I don't need to stay in this position. And again, I was always positive on the athletics field, and the people around me made it easy. I think I surrounded myself with positive people, and that's what really helped, I think.
Your family were obviously very supportive of you at that time.
Yeah, family, friends. I had loads of visitors, and I think just with the athletics, I had built up quite a reputation thing. So getting home after 3.5 months of rehab, they would set up athletics events, and certain people wouldn't run the 400. They would push me around the track because the 400 was my event. So things like that just kept you going.
So how long before you I suppose, did this come years later? But when you actually made peace with it and thought, okay, this is my life now. I'm not, like you said, I'm not crying on a night time anymore. Obviously, like you said, you had that 3.5 months when you were in hospital. But when did you actually make peace with the fact that this is me now?
I would think maybe between 2 and 5 years.
Yeah,
it took a while. I would get my disability badge for my parking. I would never park in disabled bay. I was at that point where I was like, I don't want to speak to other people in wheelchairs. I don't want to be around disabilities because I didn't see myself disabled. And I think that's because I never accepted it. But yeah, I think slowly it's like, just this is your life. This is what it is now.
Yeah. So you were in the spinal unit for 3.5 months. How long before you actually return to like normal life or your new normal, such as things like work or socializing and things like that? How long did that take?
Probably, I tried to go back to school. So I got back 3.5 months spinal unit. I was at home for a bit. I tried to go back to school. The school wasn't really equipped for wheelchairs and stuff. I had friends carry me up and down the stairs. They've dropped me twice. So it was just like, is this worth it? So I went straight into work. Started working at a small company in the local town. This was probably about a year after I broke my back. So I started earning money from the age of about 18, maybe 19, and tried to do a bit of studying. I did online studying. Again, went to do some computer programming where I need to be carried up and down the stairs. And I was like, I don't know. I'd never went the route of college or university and just went straight into work.
Did you make much comparison during them years with your own life? And again, I suppose, like, how long did that last for, where you were kind of going, oh, you used to be able to do this, or you used to be able to do that?
I didn't compare, but what I did notice was up until 17, as an abled person, I'd done so much already. So even now, I look back and now I'm glad I had that 17 years as an able person to do everything that I don't regret not doing or wish I could do it. I do, now and then I'll say, the only thing that I do wish is that I could put on a pair of hiking boots and hike up a mountain. I don't know why. I think that's just maybe getting out in the open, fresh air. But I don't look back and, I wish I could do that, or wish. And even if I do it. Whether it's, I do it differently. I mean, after my accident, I didn't go into sport. Like I always said, if I can't do it the way I used to, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to get onto athletics track. So I started looking at things that I could prove to myself I could do. So I did things, paragliding, rock climbing. I went bungee jumping, skydiving, jet skiing. I bought a quad bike, and I was just scuba diving, if I've mentioned that, just to prove, I'm not disabled. I'm just differently able. And that helped. Just not going back and saying, I wish I could do something.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliantly. So you didn't move to the UK till 2009. So like this accident happened in 1997.
Yeah.
So like obviously apart from all the the sports or the skydiving and the quad biking, all this sort of stuff that you did as a little bit of fun and to kind of prove to yourself that you were still able to do things that you wanted to do. What did life look like for you then? Because you didn't really take a sport. Did it just stop, or there was no competitions or anything like that?
Yeah,
you weren't into the wheelchair racing at that point.
I've always been competitive, whether it be on the athletics track or even if it was in the jet skiing or the quad biking stuff. I wanted to be the quickest and the fastest. So I've always had that competitive streak in me. But I moved to the UK in 2009. I was living a routine life in South Africa. I was just like, I was 28 and I wanted a bit of a change. So once I came over to the UK, I didn't have the scuba diving, the quad bikes, the paragliding and all that stuff. So I started getting a bit bored and started looking at different new adventures in the UK.
So why did you come to the UK? Was it just because you were bored there? Or what were you hoping to achieve by coming to the UK? Just
wanted to open doors, not for myself, but also the family. I wanted a change. I realized, my gran was born in the UK. I could qualify for ancestral visa, which made it a little easier to take on this challenge and, come over to the UK. It was a bad time to do it. It was, I think, 2009 recession. So wasn't a great time to do it, but I didn't even look at that. Just packed a rucksack and a suitcase and
Yeah, I suppose you, like you say, got over bigger hurdles
Yeah.
than that in your life. So,
The first thing I ever Googled coming over was accessible bus.
right. So how did you discover wheelchair athletics?
So I was looking at, like I said, I was getting a bit bored, and I wanted a bit of a change, or take up some sports. So I looked at, the canoeing, and I was like, it's a bit cold for the UK. I don't want to fall in the river or the water. I don't like being cold and wet. And then I got in touch. I was like, maybe wheelchair tennis. So I reached out to the guys in Leeds at the St. Charles Stadium.
Yeah.
And reached out to them, told them my story, and there's like, maybe you should just get in touch with, at the time there, Paul Mosley was the wheelchair athletics coach. And told him my story, had a chat to him, and they borrowed me a chair and jumped into that. And for the first time since 1997, I got onto athletics track again.
So how did that feel, being back training properly with some sort of like competitive goal? I mean, I'm sure you were thinking about competing right at the start, but
yeah.
You were?
I was.
Okay.
Once I got in there, I was, I just, the first week or two, I was like, right, how do I become competitive? Paul started sharing certain times that I would need to reach, and I was way off. I knew then I needed to then train, because at the moment it was just once a week on a Thursday evening in Leeds. I knew I would need to do a lot more than that. And it was probably about 6 months in the chair from Leeds. I flew over to the States to actually have a chair made for me, measured up for me. So once I got on that track, that competitive spirit just bit, and I wanted to just compete.
So once you had made your mind up to compete, what events did you go for?
Well, it was going to be everything on the track. I started with the 100, 200, 400, because I was still so new at it. I was like, the longer distances are just not going to work for me. So I stuck with the 100, 200, 400 for a while. Took on the 800 for a bit, took on the 1500, took on the 5K, all on the track. And that's where I thought I'd be. I didn't even consider road. I just wanted to be just competing, and had a chat to one of the friends, said, try a 10K, which was the Wakefield? Yeah, Wakefield 10K. It was so hard, and I was like, I'm never doing road again.
But now that's all you do. You do the 10Ks and you do the half marathons and the full marathons.
Yeah,
you don't do anything on the track now.
No, I stay away from track.
So what was it about the 10K, the halves and the fulls that you actually liked? Was it the style of training that you had to do? Was it the actual events themselves?
I think it's the endurance side of it. So I think even a 10K is a bit short for me. I feel the 10K is a bit of a sprint at the moment. So I started getting into a rhythm probably from about 17Ks in, 12Ks, 17Ks in. So the half marathon, the full marathons is what I like specializing in.
The first week or two, it was mainly just a big increase in energy.
It's easy, obviously, getting out of bed in the morning when you're not carrying as much weight around.
How to structure your life properly, basically. Follow the rules, just crack on, get it done.
The dietary side of things, I didn't really quite realise how much I was eating.
I've lost nearly 2 stone from it all, and I've gained quite a bit of muscle.
My wife kind of making a few comments in terms of kind of starting to get a bit of a shape.
Get your meal prep done, get your work done, get your graft done, get your sleep and back repeat.
Something to focus, and I'm normally quite non-focused, so it's given me something to concentrate on.
Stu and James, you can ask them questions whenever you want.
Now I know my limits within myself and didn't realise I could push myself.
Sleeping better, better attitude, better everything really.
So you went from training once a week as a little bit of fun, a little bit of fitness, to, like I say, setting your sights on competing, and eventually, like you said, you went up to the Commonwealth Games. So as you started training more, let's take, for instance, the run up to the Commonwealth Games, what did your weekly training routine look like?
So for a while, it's been 6 days a week. So, but I need to add there that I do work full time. So I've got a job from 8 to 4:30. So I've got to work the training around those times. It could be in the mornings before work, or lunch times, or most of it's after work. And then Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, and Sunday mornings. So 6 days a week. Some, depending what events, or if you're going to winter training, it could be double sessions on a Thursday, a Saturday. So
I was going to say, how is that broke down? Is it all, do you do gym work? Do you do work on the track? Is it all on the road? Is it, like, say, sports specific for what you're trying to do? How do you break that down?
I try and get on the road as much as I can, but with the light and the weather, and we've got it's like a rolling road in the garage. It's a set of rollers. So a lot of the stuff is just jumping on your chair in the rollers. It's like a treadmill for runners. A lot of it is gym. So like I said, it's Thursday morning, Saturday afternoons will be gym, and then the rest will be just working up from 2-minute sessions to 10 to 15-minute sessions, intervals.
Cool. So what was the experience like competing at the Commonwealth Games? Obviously that must have been when did that kind of become like a reality to you, or a goal that you knew that you could achieve?
It's funny. I never thought I would. I wasn't working towards that. I pushed a good time at one of the marathons in Berlin, and probably 6 months before, one of our friends reached out. He's like, what? It looks like you top 7. So out of all the Commonwealth countries, you need to be top 7 for automatic qualifier. I'd been rated 8th, which then you would need a wild card entry, which was given to another athlete. One of the top 7 then pulled out, which then bumped me from 8th to 7th. So yeah, I got a call one day while I was at the office, and it was the team manager from South Africa saying you've made the team, and yeah, it took days to set in.
So how long notice did you get before you did the?
Was
the games?
Probably 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was quick.
So you always have to stay kind of in, I suppose, like race ready.
Yeah. Even if I'm not, we train. And again, it's not just for the athletics; it's for the mind. I mean, to keep my mind clear and fit and healthy, yeah, I train. We train 11 months of the year. Take 3-4 months off a year just to recoup. But yeah, it's 6 days a week, 11 months of the year.
How was that experience then in the Commonwealth Games?
It was good. I mean, I arrived at the sports village and the athletes village, received my kit, and I was just like, yeah, she gave me all my kit. She's like, I'm just going to give you a moment. So yeah, I was in the room just unpacking all the kit, put the kit on straight away, went down to the eating hall, and just, you got your accreditation, you're wearing your national kit. And then, race day came on, and it was just, friends and family, and making banners for you. And it was what you see on TV, you're like experiencing it.
It was quite a close community in say the wheelchair athletics field. Like you say, you not just share the passion of the same sport, but obviously you've got the same sort of life experiences as well of what you've actually gone through away from sport. So how is the camaraderie between the athletes? Is it, obviously you're going to have your rivals, but is it very much a friendly rivalry?
It's very friendly. I mean, the build-up, I love a build-up to a marathon. You arrive 2-3 days before the marathon at the hotel, and it's just everybody gets together, and what time we go training in the morning. So we all head out 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Everybody grabs breakfast afterwards, do your separate things. You hang out. I've forgotten a tool. I don't have tires. All right, I've got a spare set. So it's everybody. And then, obviously race day comes around, and in the race, you're like, you want to work together, or, draft me, can I draft you? So everybody's working together for you to achieve. There's not any nothing malicious in it.
Fantastic. So, and like you say, you go all over the world doing races.
I mean, if it wasn't for the disability, I wouldn't have seen half the countries I've seen. I mean, it's funny to say I'm disabled, but I'm fortunate to be in this position to see the places I do.
Yeah, and you got your wife who supports you as well. She's into athletics as well.
She's a runner. She trains. Well, she trains for the 10Ks and the half marathons. So there's a few races that I'll rock up to, and she'll do the park run, or she'll enter, and then I've got to wait a little longer for it to finish. But yeah.
So with the wheelchair athletics, when you're going round a marathon, you do it faster than a runner would do it, or
Yeah, it depends what the route is. There's maybe 1 or 2 marathons where the runners could catch up to you. But yeah, we between an hour 39 to about hour 45, where the runners are doing anything just over 2 hours, depending on the course. The top guys are doing crazy. The world record is 1 hour 17.
Okay. What's your best time in a marathon?
1:39. Yeah, I definitely need to go quicker than that for the next year or 3. But yeah, I'm still up there.
I was going to say, what is next for you? Because you're 42 now. You've got your sights on the next Commonwealth Games. That's is that Australia?
Yeah, Victoria, Australia. It's in 2026. Not much this year. I'm just trying to look after two injuries at the moment. So using a few local races to test those injuries. Would do a few abroad trips, but not as many as I would previously. And then from next year, and then the year after, going into the qualifying period, start pushing getting out again, getting on the quicker courses, traveling a lot more to get to those courses.
How many races would you normally do a year?
Anything from about 8 to 10 marathons, anything between 8 to 10 10Ks, 5 to 6 half marathons. And so it's...
You got something on every few weeks then, right the way through.
There's times where we could have back-to-back marathons for 4 weeks. I'll be, Manchester Marathon 21st of April, and then the weekend after that will be London Marathon. A few weeks before the marathon will be a 10-miler or a 10K. And some of those you just use as part of training. If there's a 10K a few weeks before, it'll be good to use it as a time trial, for example, and just use that for building up.
So like I say, you're 42 now, the Commonwealth Games is next in 2026. Will that be it for you after that, or will you continue going? Like I say, I suppose an able-bodied athlete at late 30s, they're kind of calling it a day.
Yeah, I think I don't know why it is, but the shelf life seems to be longer in the wheelchair racing. You've got guys competitively pushing 56, 62. We've got somebody like in their 60s, 66, and still hitting podiums or top 10 at least. So I would like to, if the body is allowing it, at least another 10 years on competitive racing, rocking up at the marathons and appearing on the world rankings as a T53, which is my class. So yeah, maybe 10 years, I hope.
What do you have a sort of a sight set for them 10 years? Obviously, I know you want to do the compete at the Commonwealth again, but do you have a sort of I want to hit a podium there, or I want to go to the Paralympics, or what? Do you have certain milestones that you want to achieve over the next 10 years?
I try not to set too much milestones for myself because I think that puts a lot of pressure on myself. What I do try is every race try and push a good time, a PB maybe, but just keep my name up on the world rankings, on the IPC world rankings as a T53, and that if you when you appear on that does open a few doors for you. So that is my goal, just to stay fit, stay pushing fast, and appearing on those lists.
Fantastic. And when the time to move away from the competitive arena happens, is it still something that you want to be involved in?
Yeah.
This sport? Yeah.
No, I think over the years I've picked up things that I've learned myself, but I would like to pass that down to other athletes.
So potentially like a coaching role.
Coaching, yeah, that'll be good. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I mean, you travel all over to compete. Like you say, you've done the Commonwealth Games. I know you touched on it before, but do you ever have moments where you think, this wouldn't be happening to me if it wasn't for that accident? And like you say, you wouldn't have seen the places you've seen and done the things you've done and achieved the heights that you've achieved in your sport.
Yeah, I think I know I'm seeing awesome places now because of my disability. Would I have seen it if I wasn't disabled? I don't know, and I think nobody will know. But living in the moment, it is because of my disability that I see the places I've seen. I've traveled so many places, met so many people, and I know it's down to my disability. I wouldn't have. Would I have been a runner? Maybe. Would I have traveled as much? Would I have been a marathon runner? I don't know. So it's just, I live in the moment. I know now that I see the places I do is because I'm in my disability.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, like I say, you had that accident back in 1997, and medicine and science has moved on hugely. Is there anything that can be done, or in the near future, that's potentially going to give you the ability to walk again?
There probably is. I have not followed medicine around disability. I did try in 2005. I raised a bit of money, went over to Germany to have a bit of stem cell treatment. Did it work? I don't know. Would it have worked? It maybe would have worked if I'd not, maybe went more than one course, but it was just so expensive, and I didn't want to, I had to rely on fundraising to do that. So medicine is probably, it has, from 1997 to what it is now, but I've not followed that. I've kind of lived life.
It's not something that you think about?
No, I think, like I say, I made peace with it. I enjoy the life I lead. Yeah, it's I don't need to stand in queues. I can sell my shoes for the same price I bought them for. I think I wouldn't be interested in if you came to me with an option like, we would like to take a disability away and you can be abled again. I'd probably decline that. Right. I'm happy just, the way it is now.
Well, that's fantastic that you like you say, you're fully at peace with where you're at now.
Yeah.
And do you ever have moments of, as weird as it sounds, but gratitude? Because, what if you'd have been paralysed from the neck down? You ever have moments like that? I think just one more slip, 1 more centimetre, this could have been me, completely unable to even use my arms. Yeah.
So the night of my accident, I had a nurse at my bed for 24 hours for 2 days because they call it the hangman effect. So when I broke my back, when you get hung, you break C3, which is quite high in the neck. I fractured C3, so I couldn't breathe on my own for 4 days. I was on a respirator. And I was at a vertebrae away from being paralyzed neck down. So I was close to not being able to use my hands. And many years I was thinking, for you to get up in the, if you're going to go for a wee during the night, you don't even think about it. You get up, go away, half asleep. I can't do that. But for me to pick up a glass or, move something with my hands, I don't think about that because I'm able to do it. So, there's, as fortunate, if I can say I'm glad to be paralyzed in the way I am, and I can use my hands, I can scratch my face.
And I suppose, every day must feel like a bit of a blessing when you died twice on the way to the hospital, right? It could have all been done and dusted back in 1997.
Yeah, since then, it's just live day by day. There's a lot to be grateful for. We take a lot for granted.
Certainly don't stress over the small things
in
life anymore.
No, exactly.
So do you find that people treat you any different because you are in a wheelchair?
Yeah. When I was growing up, there was a lot of, when I just got home from hospital and stuff, and I'd reach for a glass, everybody would jump up, and they'd give me the glass, and I was like, put it down, I'll reach for it. If I need help, I'll ask for it. And I think, you can't shoot people down for wanting to help. And a lot of disabled people out there, they do get annoyed with able people wanting to help them much, but I think that's just us as humanity. We always want to help, and there's nothing wrong. Loads of people want to help, and even when I'm getting my chair out the car in a car park, they do stop and they, can I help you? The first thing I say is no thanks, but thanks for the offer is my response. So if I will ask, and I think anybody with a problem, not because you're disabled or abled, if you've got a problem, you'll ask for help.
Does it ever bother you when people kind of slip up with the wording a little bit? I mean, we had a Zoom call before this meeting, just so I can get a bit of a background of your picture and that. And I know on that I referred to you as running marathons on there, and I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? But do things like that bother you? Do you know? We had obviously we're doing this podcast in a studio that's a top of a flight of stairs, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, how do I ask him if he can get up the stairs, or how do we work that? Do you know what I mean? And kind of overthink it a little bit. Do you find that people are a little bit on eggshell sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. But I went to the surgery, the doctor's surgery this week, and she said, just take a seat there. And I was like, could I take my own seat? Or I've got my own seat. It's just make a fun with it, And I never, when we go for a walk, I say we're going to go, we walk into the mall, or we're running, or we're pushing. or use whatever. I mean, a lot of people, I think, are, when it comes to race or disability or whatever, is a bit anal about it. It's just, a lot of times I refer to myself as cripple. If you like it, if you don't like it, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm cripple, and that's what it is.
And I suppose, like you said, there's bigger things in life to worry about than a slip of the tongue here.
There is.
That. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think life is just becoming a bit too PR at the moment.
Yeah, far too PC.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, yeah. No, I totally agree on that one. Okay, so look, I always finish with a couple of questions. And the first question is, what would you do differently if you go back and do it all again? And obviously, I suppose that the obvious one would be potentially not getting on the bike. But let's look at it from a training perspective. So when you took up the wheelchair athletics, and you got into that 10 years ago, was it, you say? What would you have done differently at the start of that training process?
I think if I would do something different is gone into wheelchair racing pretty much straight after my accident. I wouldn't say I regret it, but I think I would have been in a better position, maybe more talented in the wheelchair racing if I'd taken it up at the age of 17.
Were there opportunities there, though, in South Africa?
There were opportunities, but probably not as much as here. I think if you compare, and I've been that in firsthand, to coming from a third world country to first world country, seeing the support and the equipment and the training facilities here compared to when I went back for the nationals in South Africa, it's sad. It's just, and I think that's where I maybe would have not succeeded as much, but I would have given it a go. But yeah, I think the support, the money, the equipment is lacking in South Africa.
What's it like over here then? Is it a well-funded sort of sport, or do you have enough to like you say progress it? I mean, it seems to be getting when we watch like the Olympics and you've got like say the Paralympics and like say the athletes in the Commonwealth Games and stuff like that. It does seem to be becoming like more and more popular, if you like, and more coverage given of it.
It is becoming more popular, but I think I'm not sure about the funding, but it's easily available. You could do a bit of savings or fundraising, and with a bit of support like that, you could get a brand new chair quick. The equipment, the knowledge, it's all here. Some of the guys still reach out to me in South Africa. Even the African countries, Zimbabwe, has reached out to me. Can I send them one of my spare chairs? I don't know if it's cheeky or out of desperation, but it's just they just don't have out there. Here, it's just.
How much would that be for like a racing chair?
Pounds. You're looking anything between, depending if you're going to go carbon or so. It could be anything between. £2,500 to £10,000 if you're looking at carbon. So it's depends your preference and how much money you've got or how much support you've got, how much funding you do have. Yeah, could be steep.
Yeah, absolutely. So and the last question, the biggest lesson that you've taken from your training and the competitions that you've done that you can put into everyday life?
Be humble. There's always somebody better than you out there. There's a lot of cockiness. Yeah, there's one thing about being positive but just don't be arrogant. Be humble and just reach for your destiny.
Fantastic. Well, look, mate, I appreciate your time coming in. Like you say, fantastic attitude on life. Yeah. Like you say, amazing story. Great to see you've done so well, not just with the wheelchair athletics, but just in life in general. And I can't wait to see, where you continue to go, because like you say, you got over 10 years ahead of you, and with the right attitude that you've got, sky's the limit, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, buddy. Cheers, mate.
Take care. Thanks.
Thanks so much for listening. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you need any more information on the Transformation Programme, just hit the link below.